Time to work the number operation section of your proficiency. Remember that every question you missed on your original test, you should be using your correction sheet right now to fill in the correct answer with work shown section of your correction sheet. So anything that I am doing, that should be in the work shown section of your correction sheet. It should look just like mine. Okay, number one day last winter, the temperature was the temperature at 7 was 4 degrees Fahrenheit. The temperature was 8 degrees higher at its hottest that day than it was at 7 a.m. So at the hottest it was that day, it was 8 degrees higher. So 4 degrees plus going up 8 degrees will give us 12 degrees. The temperature had dropped 16 degrees from the hottest temperature. So this 12 is the hottest temperature. Then it dropped 16 degrees. What was the temperature at 9 p.m.? So we're going to take away 16. So if you have 12 degrees and you take away 16 degrees, remember that this subtraction is really the same thing as a negative. So if you put your 12 negatives together, 10, 11, 12, whoops, with 16 negatives, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So if you take these 12 positives and put it together with these 12 negatives, what happens when a positive and a negative get together? They cancel each other out. So you're left with 4 negatives that are right here. So that means that 12 minus 16 is negative 4 degrees. On to question number 2, which expression results in the greatest value? So we know that a negative times a negative equals a positive, and we know a negative times a positive equals a negative, and that a positive times a negative equals a negative. So I'm going to look through here and eliminate anything that's a positive times a negative, because that's going to result in a negative. So first of all, the negative 2 times negative 1/2 is going to end up being a positive. This positive times this negative is going to end up being a negative answer. Negative times a negative will be a positive, and negative times positive will be a negative. So B and D are both negatives. So since we're looking for the greatest value, we know that B and D are not possibilities because they're negative, and we've got 2 positive possibilities. 2 times 2 is 4. Because it's a negative times a negative, it'll be a positive. Then remember that when you are multiplying a whole number by a fraction, that whole number actually gets smaller. I'm going to show the work up here. So if I do a negative 2 times a negative 1/2, I'm going to put a 1 under that 2. And the reason that fraction multiplication is totally the best one is because all you have to do is multiply straight across. So 2 times 1 is 2. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 over 2 simplifies to a 1. So this one will give you a positive 1. This one gives you a positive 4. So that means that C is the expression with the greatest value. Oops. Number 3, remember that in order to make multiplication a little bit easier, we can actually pull apart this negative 17, or I'm sorry, the 102 is the way I'd actually like to do it, by using the distributive property. So instead of doing 102 times a negative 17 and doing all that long multiplication, I'm going to do 100. Multiply that by 17, because it's really easy to multiply 100 by a number, because all you have to do is add the 2 zeros to it. So that's going to be 1700. Then, of course, I still need to add on the 2 times 17, because it's not just 100 times 17, it's 102. 2 times 17 is 34. So I'm going to add this together. 1700 plus 34 is 1734. It's a positive times a negative, so that makes this a negative. So which one of these means the same thing that I just did? Okay, so I did 100 times 17, and I got 1700, and then 2 times 17, and I got 34. Okay, this is 100 times 10, and then 2 times negative 7, so that's not it. That one will end up giving you, just let's make sure we are on the same page here as far as what's not correct. So let's do 100 times 10, which would be 1,000. Then 2 times negative 7 would be negative 14. So that's only going to be 1,014. So that is not the 1734 that we're looking for. So that one is not a possibility. 100 times 17 is 1700, and it's a negative 1700 because this is a positive times a negative. But look at this right here. This almost looks like what we just did here with the 2 times 17, but instead this does a negative 2 times a negative 17. So what's going to happen when we put these, when we take that, that's actually going to be a positive 34, not a negative 34, which is what we've got here when we put together this negative and this negative. So this one is not the right one. 10 times, or 100 times a negative 10 is a negative 1,000. Negative 2 times a negative 7 is a positive 14. So when this negative 1,000 and positive 14 get together, it's not going to give us 1734. So it's got to be this one, but let's double check. And there's just what we did over here a second ago. 100 times our negative 17 gave us negative 1,700. Then 2 times negative 17 gave us a negative 34. Just double check and make sure. So 100 times 17 is 1,700. Put that together with a 2 times a negative 17. So that'll be plus the negative 34. That does give us our answer of negative 1734. So your answer is A.